Hey everybody, good Wednesday evening to you all. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage, and we're going to be talking about a major winter storm, the one that's been advertised for the past several days, coming to fruition across the southern United States, taking a rare path. So we're going to give you the details on how much snow you can expect, how much ice you can expect here, and any severe weather that could occur as well. And we're going to be looking ahead at the weather pattern change into later January that could bring more snow to the Midwest and the Central Plains. So we got a lot to talk about here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Make sure to turn on all post notifications so you get any of my videos and live streams in the future. Like the video by giving it a thumbs up down below and share this video on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Let's look at our temperatures moving forward through the rest of this week. So heading into tomorrow on Thursday, January 9th and Friday, January 10th, notice our winter-like temperatures will persist across the deep south and over here into the eastern U.S. We're a little bit warmer over the top here in southern Canada, but still pretty chilly for this time of year. Heading into the weekend, Saturday, January 11th and Sunday, January 12th, those winter-like temperatures will continue from the deep south all the way up toward the northeast, and that is going to set the stage for a major winter storm. And we already have a lot of widespread weather alerts out here for this advertised winter storm. In these lighter purples, those are winter weather advisories. They extend all the way back into southern New Mexico and West Texas, and as far north as Kansas, Missouri, southern Illinois, and southwest Indiana. In those lighter blues over here across Kentucky, middle and eastern Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, and the western Carolinas, and even western Virginia, those are winter storm watches. And in the pinks, those have been upgraded to winter storm warnings already from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, including southeast Oklahoma, much of the state of Arkansas, including Little Rock up towards Jonesboro and Pine Bluff, Shreveport there into the northwest area of Louisiana, and then into northern Mississippi, the Tupelo area, and then into western Tennessee, so like Memphis and the Jackson region, we are upgraded to a winter storm warning. Let's look at what we expect heading into this evening. We do see some snow showers, and look at the snow line all the way down into northern Mexico. We got a clipper system here coming out of Canada, producing some light to moderate snows across eastern Montana into Wyoming and the western Dakotas this evening. As we transition into the overnight hours after midnight, we see that stronger clipper system bringing some snow across the Black Hills region of South Dakota, up into North Dakota here in southeastern Manitoba, Canada. And then here comes that storm, that piece of energy from the south, from Mexico into west and central Texas that will start to precipitate across these areas. Seeing rainfall at first in central Texas, maybe a mix of rain and snow across west Texas overnight. Then as we go into Thursday, we see a snow shield start to develop there from Amarillo down toward Lubbock and Midland, over here toward Wichita Falls, the northern side especially of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then across the Red River Valley into southern Oklahoma. Freezing line going to be very close to the DFW Metroplex. Going to be a tough call there on whether or not you'll see all snow or a mix of rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain. And then more rain here Thursday. Further south you go into Victoria, Texas, up toward Houston and Lake Charles. Looking at Thursday night, dynamic cooling will cool our temperatures off. That freezing line will settle a little bit further south. Snowfall and heavy snow rates 1 to 2 inches per hour here from the Dallas-Fort Worth area up toward Little Rock, getting into the Memphis area, even some lighter snows up toward the St. Louis metro. Heavy persistent rains on the warm side of the system across coastal Texas up into Louisiana there and central and southern Mississippi. Some of that rain will transition Thursday night into southwestern Alabama. Let's go into Friday. Look at the heavy snow into places like Nashville and the Music City there, Chattanooga, Lexington and Richmond, over here into the Atlanta metro. Yeah, very tough call there as well, but at least a wintry mix can be expected on Friday in Atlanta. Heavy snows in northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and some of that precipitation coming in as snow in the western Carolinas and the Smoky Mountains, areas like Asheville, North Carolina. Going into Saturday, this is going to be a quick system to zip off the coast. We're going to see some lighter snow perhaps into the northeast. Not a big snowstorm. We're not expecting a big snowstorm for this in the northeast. Another clipper system from Canada dropping in here into the northern U.S. on Saturday into Sunday could spread some lighter snowfall accumulations out across, again, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, northern Illinois, and into Michigan. That will not be that big of a deal, just a nuisance as we go into the weekend. Let's look at our major winter storm snowfall totals as we go through Sunday, January 12th of 2025. A narrow swath, but a potent swath of 6 to 10 inches worth of snow from the DFW area over here toward Little Rock and into Memphis, and that will actually translate further east into northern Mississippi and northern Alabama. So Tupelo over toward the Huntsville, Florence area into Alabama, that will be something to watch. And then transitioning further east, the system will be much weaker, so we're going to still see some decent snows, but more on the order of 2 to 4 inches or 3 to 6 inches rather than the 6 to 10 we see further off to the west. But still seeing some snow up into the Ohio Valley, a 1 to 3 inch to 2 to 4 inch snow up into places like Ohio, Kentucky, into West Virginia. The Carolinas, the most likely areas to see snow would be in North Carolina, especially northern and western North Carolina and western South Carolina. We are going to see some snow, at least some of it, into the Atlanta metro as well. A few inches are possible there. Ice is going to be a big deal here. While we're not likely seeing a crippling ice storm like we saw in Kentucky, we definitely could be seeing a few hundredths to a couple tenths of an inch of ice back here in central and northeast Texas. Some of that transitioning over into southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and into Mississippi. And then that ice threat across portions, again, of the northern Gulf states, so northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, and then over here into the central Carolinas and up into southeastern Virginia. We'll keep an eye on the ice threat right now, only looking at around a tenth of an inch or so of ice, maybe 2/10 of an inch in parts of the Carolinas as we do get closer. Here is what travel will be like over the next couple of days. Tonight, limited to minor travel inconveniences across West Texas as the precipitation starts to develop. It'll be light precipitation at first. And then once we get into the day tomorrow on Thursday, especially Thursday afternoon and Thursday night, conditions will go downhill and deteriorate on the roadways from the Dallas-Fort Worth area up toward Little Rock and even in the Shreveport region and even Memphis as well, seeing those major, if not extreme, travel inconveniences on the roadways as we go into Thursday. And then Friday, again, major travel implications across portions of northern Alabama, North Georgia, so Atlanta, back toward Florence, Huntsville, Chattanooga, and Tennessee. Yeah, it's going to be slow on those roadways as we go into Friday, that is for sure. So the duration of the system will be creating some at least major travel impacts from North Texas all the way east into the western Carolina. So if travel takes you to the deep south or the southeast, this system could definitely take a rare path to produce some significant travel implications as we go leading up into the weekend. Behind this storm system, we are going to be seeing another dump of cold air. So as we go into next week, January 13th, and through Friday, January 17th, we're going to see some cold air, and the coldest will be over here in the east. We're going to lean a little bit above normal up here into Montana, North Dakota, and northwest Minnesota. That's just because the ridge of high pressure in Alaska is going to kind of flatten out a little bit up there in southwestern Canada. Let's look at those temperatures generally heading into next week. To start the work week, Monday afternoon, look at these cold sub-freezing temperatures here up to the north and sub-zero temperatures as well up into especially eastern Saskatchewan, Manitoba, into Ontario, and then over here into the northern U.S. like the upper Midwest on Monday. Cold pocket of air moves over to the east, so the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the Northeast see more of those single-digit and teens for highs as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Some return flow there in the southern plains will start to melt our snowpack that we did see in the Dallas area. These temperatures, 48 in Dallas, for example, on Wednesday afternoon are low confidence right now. If we get a deeper snowpack, those temperatures could be bumped down a few degrees from the middle of next week. The coldest temperatures for the southeast coast as we go into next week will be on January 16th. That's where we'll be much below normal here. The Climate Prediction Center from the mid-Atlantic down into the southeast here, including north central Florida and as far south as Orlando. So definitely watching for sensitive vegetation further to the south. Going into later next week, Friday afternoon, we see return flow off the Gulf of Mexico. That will warm our temperatures up. And again, we have bare ground. We don't have much snow on the ground here up into the Midwest and places like Iowa, northern Illinois, Wisconsin. So we're going to easily see temperatures slipping into the upper 30s and perhaps low 40s there. And then another cold shot of air behind that as well going into next weekend. So here is what we're looking at. Again, warmer to the north a little bit, milder up toward the upper Midwest, colder underneath as we have that fresh snowpack dropping behind this storm system. And obviously cold air is dry air. So next week, pretty uneventful for weather, maybe some precipitation in South Texas toward New Mexico, and then more clipper systems again from the southern Canadian prairies into the upper Midwest and the northern plains like the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Montana. Something to keep an eye on as we go into next week. Overall, again, precipitation looking very limited here across the United States and southern Canada. Very dry, and also the snowfall front pretty dry as well as we go through the 17th of January. Let's go beyond that here just a little bit. There are hints in the long-range guidance that does show a major pattern change for more of areas of the Midwest and the plains to see winter, especially with snowfall here as we go in towards that third week of January. So the 17th through the 24th. Synoptically, this is a nice look for snow across the Midwest and the Central Plains. We got the ridge up here in the Northeast Pacific. We also have the lower heights up across the upper Midwest, and that storm track will originate across the Southwest. It'll dive down here toward Texas and then move up the coast here, potentially producing some heavy snow for the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and back here into the plains as well. And the Climate Prediction Center has identified that and has gone ahead and put a slight risk for heavy rain across the deep south as we go in towards that 17th through the 20th time frame. So where we see snow now, we could see heavier rain and severe weather as we go into that third week of January, and that snow line will go further north again, and we could have the 18th to the 20th, a heavy snowstorm to deal with on our hands here for places like Detroit, Milwaukee, Chicago, perhaps in St. Louis again, Indianapolis, back toward Kansas City, Oklahoma City, and Amarillo. You are in that slight risk for heavy snow on the 18th through the 20th of the month of January. And again, the ensemble guidance is showing this where we have heavier precipitation, and this is mostly rain. You're going to see a lot of greens on here, and where you see lighter greens, that doesn't mean you're not seeing any precipitation. That just means it's going to be lighter in variety, so that will likely transition for snow. Rain is heavier than snow, so you're going to see rain better on the ensemble guidance as darker green than you will light green, so that is something to keep an eye on. Looking at the snowfall accumulation for the GFS extended ensemble guidance, it is in pretty good agreement with the Climate Prediction Center, showing some heavy snows from the Great Lakes back in the Midwest. So yes, Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Des Moines, Indianapolis, Kansas City again, back toward Topeka, and even Oklahoma City. Yeah, the areas that haven't seen a lot of snow this season so far could get in on the action as we go into that 17th through the 24th time frame. We'll keep an eye on that. Finally, the final forecast here is for another push of cold air as we go into next week. Look at the polar vortex is up here for Europe, and it's really not impacting the United States right now. I know it's cold, but it's not really bitterly cold like what the polar vortex would bring. Look how it rotates around Europe and into the portions of North America again, and that will send another lobe of cold air down from the polar vortex, a stretching event for late January, and that will dive down across the central and eastern U.S., and this could be our last big hurrah, at least for January standards, of the polar vortex stretching all the way down from the Arctic and into the lower 48. So something to keep an eye on as we do go into late January. I know there's a lot there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check back often for updates. Make sure all your post notifications are turned on so you are notified when I do post a video or a live stream in the future, as we will be doing more of these live streams and videos as these winter storms just continue here through the month of January and beyond. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I'll see you all tomorrow, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Wednesday out there.